welcome back to our channel. Discover the charm of the 1-cent penny, a timeless symbol of American history and value. In 1964, the world was a very different place. The United States was in the midst of significant social and political change, and its currency was evolving along with it. Among the coins in circulation, the 1-cent penny played a particularly interesting role. Today, we're going to take a deep dive into the story of the 1964 USA 1-cent penny, exploring everything from its historical context to its design, minting details, and why it's now become one of the most sought-after coins by collectors. Stick around until the end, as we'll reveal just how valuable this little penny has become today. To understand the 1964 penny, we first need to look back at the United States in the early 1960s. The country was in the middle of the space race, battling the Soviet Union for dominance in space exploration. President John F. Kennedy was in office, navigating both the Cold War tensions and the civil rights movement that was gaining momentum. This period was marked by both progress and upheaval, and all of this was reflected in the designs and changes to American currency. The coinage of the early 1960s would reflect the nation's optimism, as well as its historical significance. In 1964, something significant was happening with U.S. currency. The 1-cent penny was designed by the famous artist Victor David Brenner. His design, featuring the bust of Abraham Lincoln, had been in circulation for decades, since 1909, marking the 100th anniversary of Lincoln's birth. The 1964 penny, however, had something a little different about it: its composition. Up until that point, pennies were primarily made from 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc. However, due to a sudden increase in the price of copper and economic pressures, the U.S. Mint decided to change the metal composition in 1982. This decision would later prove important in the world of coin collecting. Now, let's talk about the specifics of the 1964 penny. As you probably know, pennies are made of copper and are the lowest denomination of U.S. currency. But unlike the modern penny, which is made of zinc and coated in copper, the 1964 penny is a solid copper coin. This makes it unique, as the value of copper has fluctuated over the years. The 1964 penny has an important place in the hearts of collectors because it was one of the last pennies ever produced with a high copper content, and this makes it particularly valuable. There's something about the simplicity of the design that makes the 1964 penny stand out. On the obverse, you'll find the image of President Abraham Lincoln, facing right, with the inscription "Liberty" to the left and "In God We Trust" to the right. Above Lincoln's head, the year of mintage, 1964, appears, and underneath his bust is the inscription, United States of America. But it's not just the obverse that's important. On the reverse side, you'll find a design that was also created by Victor David Brenner. The reverse features two stalks of wheat, which encircle the words, E pluribus unum, the U.S. motto meaning, out of many, one. The words, 1 cent, are prominently displayed at the bottom, with United States of America curving above. This iconic reverse design, which is commonly referred to as the wheat penny, would be in circulation until 1958, when the design was replaced by the Lincoln Memorial reverse. However, in 1964, the wheat penny was still alive and well, and it would become a symbol of a simpler time in U.S. history. But here's where things get interesting. When you start talking about rare coins, there's always a story behind it. And the 1964 penny is no exception. While most of the 1964 pennies minted were produced with the standard copper composition, a very small number of pennies were accidentally struck on planchets, blanks, that were intended for use in other coins. These rare pennies, known as 1964 double-die errors, became a hot commodity in the world of coin collectors. These double-die errors occur when the die used to strike the coin doesn't properly align during the minting process, resulting in a coin that shows multiple impressions of the design. In the case of the 1964 double-die penny, this error is visible on Lincoln's forehead, the date, and the inscription, Liberty. This makes the 1964 double-die penny incredibly distinctive and valuable to collectors. Over the years, as collectors began to realize the rarity of these error coins, the demand for the 1964 double-die penny grew exponentially. The word spread in the numismatic community, and soon these rare coins were being sought after by both experienced collectors and newcomers to the hobby alike. What was once just a simple penny, spent on candy or a soda at the local store, quickly became a treasure of significant historical and monetary value. Now, you might be wondering, how much are these 1964 double-die pennies worth today? Well, let's just say that if you happen to have one in your collection, you could be sitting on a small fortune. The 1964 double-die penny can fetch an astonishing price at auction. As of recent years, a 1964 double-die penny has been known to sell for over $100,000, with some exceptional examples surpassing that amount, and here's where it gets really interesting. One particular 1964 double-die penny made history when it sold for an incredible $156,000. That's right, a single penny, worth just 1 cent when it was first minted, now commands a price of over $150,000 at auction. The fact that such a small, seemingly insignificant coin could appreciate to such a staggering value is a testament to the world of coin collecting. Collectors recognize the historical significance of the coin, the rarity of the era, and, of course, the unique design that links it to one of the most iconic figures in American history, Abraham Lincoln. So, if you're someone who's been holding on to pennies from 1964, or you're just beginning to explore the world of coin collecting, keep an eye out for those rare 1964 double-die pennies. They may not look like much at first glance, but in the world of numismatics, they can be worth far more than their face value. In conclusion, the 1964 1-cent penny is more than just a piece of currency. It's a piece of American history, a symbol of the past, and, for some lucky collectors, it's a small but mighty treasure. From its humble beginnings as a copper coin to its rise as a highly coveted collector's item, the 1964 penny's journey is nothing short of remarkable. And who knows? The next time you're going through your spare change, you might just find one of these rare treasures yourself. Thanks for watching, and remember to subscribe for more fascinating stories about coins, currency, and the world of collectibles. Keep an eye on your change, it could be worth far more than you think. It's hard to believe that something as simple as a 1-cent penny could carry so much history, intrigue, and value. The 1968 USA 1-cent penny, a coin that many might dismiss as just another piece of currency, has a fascinating story that spans from its minting in the late 1960s all the way to its surprising value in today's collector market. This penny has a special place in the world of numismatics and, with its unique qualities, has captured the attention of coin enthusiasts around the world. In today's video, we're going to explore the rich history behind the 1968 penny, its design, the minting process, and, most intriguingly, why it's worth far more than its face value today. Stick around to the end to find out just how much this penny is worth now. It may just surprise you. Let's rewind the clock to 1968, a year that was deeply significant in the United States for a variety of reasons. The country was in the midst of political unrest, with the Vietnam War, civil rights movements, and protests making headlines. Yet amidst all this turmoil, the U.S. Mint was busy producing coins for everyday transactions. But what makes the 1968 penny so special in the grand scheme of American currency? Before we dive into the details of the 1968 penny, let's first discuss the state of American coinage at the time. In the early 1960s, the United States was still using copper as the primary material for producing pennies. But by 1968, the minting process was beginning to change. The rising cost of copper and the need for more cost-effective production methods meant that the penny was starting to take on a different form. While the composition of the penny was on the verge of shifting, the 1968 1-cent penny was still made of 95% copper and 5% zinc. This would soon be the last year for the penny to be struck using this copper composition, marking 1968 as a significant turning point in U.S. currency history. But how did the design of the 1968 penny fit into this changing landscape? Well, by 1968, the design of the penny had been largely unchanged for over 50 years. Since 1909, the penny featured the portrait of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse, designed by the artist Victor David Brenner. The reverse side, which previously featured the iconic wheat ears design, had already been replaced in 1959 with the Lincoln Memorial, designed by Frank Gasparo. The 1968 penny thus carried on this tradition, with Lincoln's image proudly displayed on the front, and the Lincoln Memorial on the back. On the obverse, Lincoln is portrayed in a right-facing bust, surrounded by the inscription, Liberty, to the left and the national motto, In God We Trust, to the right. Below Lincoln's portrait, the coin displays the year, 1968, the critical year for this coin's legacy. The reverse shows the Lincoln Memorial with the words, United States of America, curving along the top, and E pluribus unum, prominently displayed across the top. The word 1 cent is centered at the bottom, just above the memorial. It's important to remember that the 1968 penny was, at its core, just a simple piece of currency, used for purchasing a candy bar or a newspaper. But it is the rarity of certain versions of this penny, paired with its historical significance, that has made it such a coveted collector's item. Over the years, collectors began to realize that while most of the 1968 pennies were minted with the regular design and composition, a very small percentage were actually struck with a variety of errors. These error coins, often caused by imperfections in the die or problems with the minting process, became highly sought after. These errors could be small, such as doubled letters or misshapen features, or more significant, like incorrect strikes or off-center coins. While these errors may seem minor to the casual observer, they are actually quite valuable to serious collectors, and the 1968 penny is no exception. For example, one of the most intriguing and rare errors that can be found in the 1968 penny is the double die error. This error occurs when the coin's die is misaligned, resulting in a double image of the design on the coin. On the 1968 penny, the double die error is most often visible in the lettering of Liberty and In God We Trust, where you'll see the letters appear twice, creating a slight overlap. This error, while subtle, makes the coin highly collectible and valuable. The 1968 penny's collector appeal didn't stop at minting errors. Over time, the coin became even more coveted because it marked the final year of the traditional copper composition before the U.S. Mint switched to a zinc-coated steel planchet in 1982. As a result, the 1968 penny has become an essential piece in any serious coin collection. The copper composition, which gave the penny its signature weight and color, makes it a unique historical artifact. But here's where things really get interesting. Over the years, the 1968 penny has grown in value, and it's not just about the errors or the unique composition. It's also the coin's rarity and the fact that it is still relatively available in terms of circulation. However, for those who know what to look for, such as finding a well-preserved or error-struck 1968 penny, the value can be staggering. In fact, the value of a 1968 penny can reach impressive amounts, depending on its condition and any rare features. A typical 1968 penny, in good condition, may only be worth a few cents more than its face value. However, when it comes to certain error coins or rare finds, the price skyrockets. A well-preserved example with a double die error can fetch prices upwards of $10,000. But here's the real kicker: the ultimate prize for a collector is a particularly rare version of the 1968 penny that has been well preserved, free from significant wear, and features a notable error. These coins have sold for as much as $148,000. Imagine that, a penny, a coin that you probably wouldn't even pick up if you found it on the ground, could be worth a jaw-dropping $148,000. It's a reminder of how the world of coin collecting works. What may seem like an ordinary, everyday object can, with the right combination of rarity, history, and collector interest, become a highly valuable treasure. As we reach the end of our deep dive into the 1968 penny, I want to leave you with one thought: always take a closer look at your spare change. You never know when a seemingly insignificant coin could turn into something much more valuable. Who would have thought that a 1-cent coin from 1968 would eventually become worth as much as $148,000? Thank you for joining me today as we explored the history, design, and incredible value of the 1968 USA 1-cent penny. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and click the bell icon to stay updated on all things coin-related. Keep an eye out for those rare finds; they could be worth more than you ever imagined. The story of the 2002 USA 1-cent penny may seem like it's just about a small, seemingly insignificant piece of currency. After all, it's a coin that we often overlook or toss aside without much thought. But what if I told you that this particular penny carries a history, a design, and a unique set of features that have made it one of the most fascinating coins in modern American numismatics? Stick around, because by the end of this video, you'll learn how a 2002 1-cent penny could be worth a staggering $138,000. To truly appreciate the 2002 penny, we need to first step back in time and understand what was happening in the United States around that period. The year 2002 marked a significant time in the country's history. The early 2000s were a time of reflection and rebuilding for the U.S., especially following the tragic events of September 11, 2001. The nation was recovering from the emotional and political fallout of those events, and life in America was starting to change in subtle ways. Meanwhile, the U.S. Mint was continuing to produce coins, including the 1-cent penny, which had been in circulation for over a century by 2002. The design of the penny, however, had undergone some changes in the years leading up to 2002. The 2002 penny continued to feature the familiar portrait of Abraham Lincoln, but that wasn't all. 2002 marked the start of something special for the 1-cent piece, a new design that would become an important chapter in American coinage history. Let's start by talking about the design of the 2002 penny. For most of us, the first thing that comes to mind when we think of the penny is the face of Abraham Lincoln. His portrait has been featured on the front of the penny since 1909, making it one of the longest-running designs in U.S. coinage. The 2002 penny was no different in this regard. On the obverse, or front side, you'll find Lincoln's iconic image, created by the artist Victor David Brenner. His portrait faces to the right, with the words "Liberty" to the left and the phrase "In God We Trust" to the right. Below Lincoln's portrait is the year, 2002, signifying the coin's mintage. On the reverse, the penny continued to carry the Lincoln Memorial design, which had been in use since 1959. The reverse side shows the Lincoln Memorial in all its grandeur, with the words "United States of America" arcing above, and "E Pluribus Unum" in a curved line at the top. Below the image of the memorial, you'll find the words 1 cent boldly displayed, but in 2002, something exciting was happening with the penny. The U.S. Mint introduced a series of new pennies, marking the beginning of a multi-year series called the Presidential Dollar Coin Series, which would eventually impact the design of the 1-cent penny. While the 2002 penny retained the familiar Lincoln Memorial reverse, there was a significant change just around the corner. 2009 would bring the 200th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth, and the Mint would release 4 new reverse designs, each commemorating a different phase of Lincoln's life and legacy. But in 2002, collectors were still focused on the classic design, making this penny a standout piece in the ongoing history of U.S. currency. Let's now turn our attention to the composition and minting process of the 2002 penny. At the time, the penny was still made primarily of copper, with a small amount of zinc mixed in. The U.S. Mint used a copper-plated zinc composition for the penny, which has become the standard for most modern pennies. The 2002 penny weighed in at 2.5 grams and measured 19.05 millimeters in diameter. Over the years, the penny had gone through some changes in terms of its composition. In 1982, the U.S. Mint switched from using nearly pure copper to a copper-coated zinc planchet for the 1-cent coin. This change was a response to the rising cost of copper, which was making it increasingly expensive to produce pennies. However, the 2002 penny still adhered to the copper-plated zinc formula that was widely in use at the time. Minting the penny was a complex process, with the U.S. Mint working tirelessly to produce billions of these coins each year. The 2002 penny was no different. The Mint would use large dies to strike thousands of coins at a time, using high-pressure machinery to imprint the design onto the metal planchets. The result was millions of pennies entering circulation across the country. But with that large volume came the inevitable: some pennies were struck with errors. Error coins have always fascinated collectors, and the 2002 penny is no exception. In fact, over the years, a number of error coins have been discovered from 2002, including off-center strikes, double dies, and more. These coins, though produced by mistake, have become highly valuable to collectors, who seek out these rarities for their collections. But it's not just errors that make the 2002 penny interesting to collectors. It's also the rarity of certain variations and the significance of the coin within the broader history of American currency. As time went on, the 2002 penny became a highly sought-after coin for those who were interested in collecting rare pieces of American numismatics. Coin collectors began to notice that certain 2002 pennies, particularly those in exceptional condition, were increasing in value. Pennies with high levels of mint luster and minimal wear were being sold for more than their face value, sparking interest among both experienced collectors and newcomers to the hobby. But it's not just about condition. There are certain rare 2002 pennies that have become known for their particularly valuable characteristics. One of the most significant features collectors look for is the presence of a double die error, which occurs when the coin's design is struck more than once in slightly different positions. This error is most noticeable on the lettering and features of the coin, where you can see a faint duplicate of the image. A 2002 penny with a double die error is an incredibly rare find, and it can significantly increase the coin's value. As the years passed, the value of the 2002 penny steadily increased. What was once considered just another coin in the pocket or jar of spare change became a prized possession for those in the know. Collectors began to realize that the 2002 penny had a special place in American coinage history. Its unique design, historical significance, and potential for error made it a valuable coin for collectors who understood its true worth. Now, you might be wondering, how much is a 2002 penny really worth? Well, it depends on the coin's condition, rarity, and any potential errors or variations. In most cases, a 2002 penny is worth only a few cents more than its face value. However, for those lucky enough to find a rare error coin or one in exceptional condition, the value can soar to impressive heights. One particularly rare 2002 penny, featuring a double die error, recently sold for an eye-popping $138,000. That's right, $138,000 for a single penny. So, the next time you're going through your change or searching through your collection of coins, keep an eye out for that elusive 2002 penny. You never know when you might stumble upon a rare treasure that could be worth far more than you ever imagined. And there you have it, the story of the 2002 USA 1-cent penny. A coin that began as just another part of everyday currency has become a collector's dream, thanks to its historical significance, its potential for error, and its place in the story of American numismatics. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the 2002 penny, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more fascinating stories about coins, history, and rare treasures. Keep your eyes peeled, because you never know when you might find a penny that's worth far more than its face value. Let's rewind to 2008, a year that marked both challenges and triumphs for the United States. Economically, the country was facing significant hurdles. The Great Recession had begun to take hold, with housing markets crashing and banks faltering. Yet, despite these tough times, the U.S. Mint was still hard at work producing coins for daily transactions, coins like the 1-cent penny, which would go on to become part of a legacy that many collectors would one day find irresistible. But why does the 2008 penny stand out among the millions of pennies produced in that year? To understand this, we first need to look at the history of the 1-cent coin and the design that it carried during this time. By 2008, the U.S. Mint had been producing pennies with the iconic image of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse, the front side of the coin, for nearly a century. The design, which had been in use since 1909, was still one of the longest-running designs in American coinage history. The Lincoln portrait, created by artist Victor David Brenner, was instantly recognizable. The image of Lincoln, facing right, was surrounded by the words, "Liberty," to the left and the motto, "In God We Trust," to the right. Below Lincoln's bust, the coin displayed the year of mintage, 2008, in this case, marking the year the coin was produced. However, while the obverse of the 2008 penny remained consistent with the classic Lincoln design, the reverse side, featuring the Lincoln Memorial, had changed just a few years earlier. In 2009, to commemorate the bicentennial of Abraham Lincoln's birth, the U.S. Mint introduced a new series of reverse designs for the penny, showcasing different stages of Lincoln's life. But before that, in 2008, the penny still bore the Lincoln Memorial on its reverse, which had been the design since 1959. The Lincoln Memorial design, created by Frank Gasparo, shows a depiction of the Memorial Building in Washington, D.C., with the inscription, "United States of America," at the top, and the words, "E pluribus unum," near the top. The words, 1 cent, are prominently displayed near the bottom, with a clear indication of the coin's value. This reverse design became one of the most beloved and iconic representations of Lincoln's legacy, and it continued to be a mainstay on the penny until the release of the new designs in 2009. So, what makes the 2008 penny special from a numismatic perspective? The design was classic, yes, but it was also the final year of the Lincoln Memorial reverse before the new bicentennial series began. This made the 2008 penny a significant piece in the timeline of American coinage, marking the end of an era for the penny's reverse design. Another key factor that makes the 2008 penny stand out is the composition of the coin. At this time, the penny was still being produced using a copper-plated zinc formula. Specifically, the 2008 penny contained 97.5% zinc and 2.5% copper, a combination that had been used in U.S. pennies since 1982 when the mint switched from a nearly pure copper composition to a more cost-effective alternative. The penny weighed 2.5 grams and measured 19.05 millimeters in diameter, making it one of the smallest and lightest coins in circulation. As for the minting process, the U.S. Mint produced billions of these pennies in 2008 to meet the demands of the American public. The mint employed high-pressure machines to strike the design onto metal blanks, producing thousands of pennies at a time. These coins were then distributed across the nation, where they would go into circulation and be used in everyday transactions. But while most of the 2008 pennies were ordinary, some of them were not. In fact, over the years, certain versions of the 2008 penny would become highly sought after due to minting errors or unusual variations. One such error that caught the attention of collectors was the double die error, where the die used to strike the coin was misaligned, causing parts of the design to appear doubled. This type of error, though subtle, can make a significant difference in the coin's value, turning what would otherwise be a run-of-the-mill penny into a rare and valuable treasure. Other types of errors also appeared on the 2008 penny, including off-center strikes, where the design was imprinted onto the coin unevenly, and some coins that were struck with missing details or in unusual ways. These variations and imperfections were the result of minor issues in the minting process, but they were exactly the types of rare finds that collectors craved. In addition to the errors, there's another reason why the 2008 penny became so attractive to collectors. As the years went by, the 2008 penny began to be seen as a piece of history, marking the end of an era for the Lincoln Memorial reverse design. This significance, combined with its place in the larger story of U.S. coinage, made it a coveted coin among both seasoned collectors and new enthusiasts who wanted to own a piece of American history. But as time went on, the 2008 penny started to become more valuable than ever before. As coin collectors began to notice the increasing rarity of certain versions, particularly those with minting errors or in near-perfect condition, the penny's value began to climb. Coins in high grade, especially those with the double die error or other rare features, started fetching impressive prices on the secondary market. So, just how much is a 2008 penny worth today? While most 2008 pennies are still only worth their face value of 1 cent, there are exceptions. Coins with significant minting errors, such as a double die or an off-center strike, have been sold for thousands of dollars, and some well-preserved examples have commanded even higher prices. The ultimate prize for a collector, a rare 2008 penny with the right combination of errors, rarity, and condition, can be worth an astonishing $120,000. Yes, you heard that right. A single 2008 penny, one that may have been passed over in your pocket change or tossed into a jar of coins, could be worth as much as $120,000 if it's the right one. This just goes to show how important it is to pay attention to the details when it comes to coin collecting. A small, seemingly insignificant penny from 2008 could be the key to a windfall. As we come to the end of our journey into the world of the 2008 USA 1-cent penny, I hope you've learned just how remarkable this little coin can be. Whether it's the classic design, the unique historical context, or the potential for error variations, the 2008 penny has cemented its place in numismatic history. If you're lucky enough to stumble upon a rare version of this coin, you could be holding a treasure worth far more than you ever imagined. Thank you for joining me today to explore the fascinating world of the 2008 penny. If you enjoyed this video and want to learn more about rare coins and their incredible stories, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss an exciting episode. And remember, keep your eyes peeled for that next penny in your pocket. It just might be worth far more than you think.